Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. And I'm glad you guys decided to join me. All right. I know it's earlier than I usually get on. I'm testing out a new time with this whole, everything that's going on. I'm testing it out. See if we'll get some new times and get some people on at this time. See what the crowd is like. Right now, it's very low. I'll say that. But that's all good. It's all good. I understand you guys got things that you got to do. Spending time with family and doing that kind of stuff. Now, I'm pretty sure some people are going to jump on as soon as they get whiffed that I'm live. But tonight, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look back, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to check out the Boston Celtics and the New York Knicks, or the New York Knicks and the Boston Celtics from Game 5 of the 1990 NBA playoffs. I remember it vividly, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know how much you remember it, but I remember it pretty vividly. This 1990, I was about 14 years old. And, of course, I'm a diehard New York Knicks fan. And I lived in Utica, New York. A lot of Boston Celtics fans there, for whatever reason. A lot of Celtics fans there. So, I always got flack and always had to argue with people about the Knicks and the Celtics. And the Knicks were on a rise at that time, ladies and gentlemen. The Knicks were on a rise. They were trying to make their mark in the NBA at that moment in time. They hadn't been there yet. They hadn't done it yet. They were trying to, though. They were on the move. The Knicks were 45-37 on the season. Now, this is 1989-1990. This is the 1989-1990 playoff season, or playoff series, all right? The Knicks were 45-37 on the season. They were the 5th seed in the playoffs, okay? Now, the previous season, the Knicks were 52-30. They were coached by Rick Pitino. They had been coached by Rick Pitino the previous 2 seasons, right? The first season that Rick Pitino got there, it was a little bit shaky. Right, it was a little bit shaky. But then the second season, they got better. And it was apparent that the Knicks were on the rise. They were 52-30. But then all this drama was going on about Rick Pitino and wanting to possibly leaving the Knicks and going to coach Kentucky. Right? And Rick Pitino and the general manager had a little bit of strife going on. He ends up leaving and goes on to coach Kentucky and has a marvelous career at Kentucky. All right, marvelous career. He leaves the Knicks that summer. All right, this is the summer of 88-89, or the summer of 1989. He leaves the Knicks, and Stu Jackson takes over as the coach of the New York Knicks. All right, Stu Jackson. Stu Jackson had been Rick Pitino's assistant for the previous 2 seasons. Takes over as the coach of the New York Knicks. All right, the Knicks don't do as well. They struggle from the beginning of the season, but they end up 45-37, and they make it to be the 5th seed in the playoffs. The Celtics, at this point, they were 52-30 on this season. This was, again, 89-90. The Celtics 52-30. All right, they were the 4th seed in the playoffs. All right, now, look, the Celtics were a championship team that was kind of on the downslide. Right? Kind of on the downslide. Get it? In 1987, they lost the finals to the Los Angeles Lakers. In 1986, they won the championship. All right, they won the championship in 86. This is the Celtics now. Won the championship in 86. Then in 87, they lost the championship to the Los Angeles Lakers. In 88, they lost in the conference finals to the Detroit Pistons. And then in 89, they lost in the first round to the Detroit Pistons. Now, remember who the Detroit Pistons were back then. Right? The Pistons were a beast of a team back then. Okay? They were a beast of a team. But the Celtics won a downslide. They were 52-30 that season. 4th seed in the NBA playoffs. So, given their records, of course, the 4th seed and the 5th seed, they match up. Right? They match up in the first round of the playoffs. And, of course, Knicks, Celtics, New York, Boston, you can't get much better of a rivalry than that. Well, I guess you can if you have the Celtics and the Lakers, but you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? So it was a battle. And the Knicks, I mean, they went to Boston. They had to go to Boston Garden. They went down 2-0. They went down 2-0 to the Celtics. And, you know, most people felt like, that's it for the Knicks, man. That's it for the Knicks, you know, with this series. But the Knicks wasn't having it, though. Listen, the Knicks were a team that the previous season, they swept the Philadelphia 76ers in the first round. Then they lost to the Pistons in the second round. Or the Bulls in the second round. So anyway, the Knicks come back and they tie it at 2-2. They tie it at 2-2. Patrick Ewing had some monster games. Charles Oakley had some monster games. Let's take a listen. We're going to check out right now just the beginning of the series, you know, just the introduction to the series. Let's take a listen and take a look at the introduction to the series, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get with it. Let's take a listen. Wait a minute. And sound issues. Let's rewind it for 1 minute because I had some sound issues. And we are now back in action. Let's go.
And just last week, the Celtics showed some old championship form as they seemed unstoppable against the New York Knicks. While everything seemed to go wrong for the Knicks, the Celtics were running on all cylinders, setting playoff records and sending the Knicks home down and almost out. As the series shifted to another garden and New York facing elimination, the Knicks looked to their offensive machine to save them. The franchise, Patrick Ewing, exploded for 77 points in 2 games. And a once confident Celtic team saw their commanding lead slip away as the Knicks tied the series, showing some garden magic of their own. And good afternoon again, everyone. I'm Dick Stockton. A week ago, no one ever dreamed that we would be here for a 5th game. Not after the Celtics humiliated the Knicks in game number 2, but the Knicks came back, as you know, and the 2 facts that will not go away are the fact that the New York Knicks have not won in Boston Garden for 26 straight games, and furthermore, only 2 teams in history have ever come back from a 2-0 deficit. Very big obstacles indeed. But the Knicks are confident because they won those 2 games at Madison Square Garden, and Hubie Brown explains what the keys were behind New York's success to even the series.
The first key has been the Boston turnovers. 21 in game 3, 26 in game 4. Second, we have Boston ball pickup in feeding the post people. Try to pass in when you have a mismatch below the foul line. Here you'll see on the ball pickup, the passing lane is too long of an area. Now that enables the Knicks defense to front and gamble, causing the turnover. The third is in the offensive rebounding. In the early games, Boston dominated on the offensive boards. Here, only 5 and 11 in games 3 and 4.
All right, Hubie, that's the story of the Knicks' 2 wins. What's the key in today's 5th game?
I think Robert Parrish must step up and somewhat neutralize Patrick Ewing. In games 3 and 4, Ewing 38 points and 16 rebounds. He's the guy that's making them bullish. Now, Oakley and Ewing, can they stay out of foul trouble today? Big drop-off if the Knicks go to their bench. Now, for the Boston Celtics, transition defense. They cannot allow Newman, Wilkins, and Cheeks to get the 2-on-1, 3-on-2 situations.
All right, Hubie. Well, since Larry Bird came to Boston, the Celtics have lost a deciding game only 1 time. We'll see what happens today. Sit back.
And ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you. Listen to some of those names, man. Robert Parrish, of course, Patrick Ewing, Charles Oakley, Gerald Wilkins. And you're going to see, you know, obviously throughout the game, you're going to see a lot of people that legends that you love, right? Kenny Skywalker, Johnny Newman. You know, Johnny Newman was one of those guys that, you know, he would give me fits, but I love Johnny Newman. You know what I'm saying? Johnny Newman would give me crazy fits. You know, crazy fits. But hey, you know, it was NBA basketball at its best at that time, ladies and gentlemen. NBA basketball at its best. All right, the New York Knicks and the Boston Celtics. Let's take a listen to the starting lineups. All right, and you'll see who's in the starting lineups, and you know, feel free to reminisce all that you want to. Reminisce about all of it. All right, so let's take a listen to the introduction of these starting lineups, and then we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit. Now, I do want you to remember, you know, we're not going to be able to watch the game entirely through. You know, we're going to, you know, we'll talk about it. We'll look at some clips, you know, and we'll do it that way. You know, obviously, I can't just sit here and play the entire game. I really wish that I could sit here and play the entire game, but I can't do that. All right, so we're going to listen to the introductions. And then I got my man Wayne in the chat, and, you know, we're going to chop it up with Wayne a little bit about his memory of this series. And then we'll take a look at the first quarter a little bit. All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get the introduction of these starting lineups.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Boston Garden for today's fifth and deciding game in the first round of the Eastern Conference playoffs. Now let's meet the starting lineups for both teams. First, for the New York Knicks. At guard, in his 12th season from West Texas State, number 1, Maurice Cheeks. At the other guard, in his 5th season from Tennessee at Chattanooga, number 21, Gerald Wilkins. At center, in his 5th season from Georgetown, number 33, Patrick Ewing.
And you know, Ewing would always
get... In his 5th season from Virginia Union, number 34, Charles Oakley.
Ewing would always get some cheers in Boston because he went to school up there. At the other forward,
in his 11th season from UCLA, number 55, Kiki Vandeweghe.
Kiki Vandeweghe, ladies and gentlemen.
And the head coach in his first season, Stu Jackson. And now, for the Boston Celtics. At guard, in his 14th season from Pepperdine, number 3, Dennis Johnson. At the other guard, in his 3rd season from Northeastern, number 35, Reggie Lewis.
That guy Reggie Lewis was nice, man.
At center, in his 14th season from Centenary, number 00, Robert Parrish. At forward, in his 10th season from Minnesota, number 32, Kevin McHale. And at the other forward, in his 11th season from
and that's the guy,
number 33, Larry Bird. And the head coach in his 2nd season,
Jimmy Rogers, coach of the Celtics.
Wayne, what's going on, man?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good, man. How you feeling? What do you remember? You know, just looking back, what do you remember about this series right here?
I was at those 2 games at the Garden.
At Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was at those 2 games. I had season tickets back then.
Okay. And I know it was electric, those 2 games. Had to have been electric. I watched them, but I wasn't there. You know what I mean?
It was crazy in the Garden. But I remember telling a lot of people that after we lost the first 2, we were going to win those 2 at the Garden. I didn't expect to win Game 5. I ain't going to lie about that. But I told a lot of people we were going to win those 2 at the Garden. So
yeah, man. Yeah, hey, I mean, well, obviously we won those 2 at the Garden behind huge gains from Patrick Ewing. I think he averaged like 30, 36, 37, 38 points a game.
Patrick went crazy. Nobody could do anything with Patrick.
Nobody could do anything with Ewing.
He almost was as good as Bernard was when they played the Celtics. Back in what was it,
almost, man.
84?
Almost.
Yeah.
Almost. Ewing just went crazy. He just went crazy. It was just
Patrick did everything in that series. Wasn't only scoring; he was intimidating.
Yeah, even in this first in the game, this 5th game at the Garden. Mm-hmm. Even in the 5th game at the Garden, he was racking up assists. I think he had 10 assists that game.
Yeah, he was doing other things. He was rebounding. Patrick was doing everything. He was a madman in that series.
Yeah, man. He definitely was. He definitely was. Well, this is what I'm going to recommend you do so that you can see the game in a little bit closer time, because I'm actually showing parts of the game. I'm going to recommend that you go to Sportscaster. All right, and look at it there, because you'll be able to see the game on YouTube, but on Sportscaster, you're going to be able to see it closer to real time.
Okay.
Yeah, closer to real time. But I'm going to go ahead. We're going to take a look at some of the first quarter. We're not going to look at all of it. Of course, I don't want to get my channel taken down, but we'll look at some of the first quarter, and then we'll.
They get on you for doing pass games?
It's kind of hit or miss. We'll see what happens. As long as I'm not showing the entire thing all the way through, and I'm we're showing it and then talking about it and then showing it and then talking about it, I think we're okay. I think we're okay. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and.
I don't want you to get shut down. I listen to you almost every day.
Yeah, man, I'm not trying to get shut down either, man. So we're gonna go ahead and listen to and watch some of this first quarter, ladies and gentlemen. So since you can't have Knicks basketball, well, we'll go back and we'll look at old games. That's what we're gonna do. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna go back. We're gonna look at old games. You see Gerald Wilkins just there on the screen right now. They're talking about how Gerald Wilkins, just before this game, he had to go. His wife was in labor. Stu Jackson wasn't sure Gerald Wilkins was going to be able to play the game.
No, that's exactly what he said. He said he's on a high and he hopes he can keep it up
here we go.
for the big 48 minutes.
Celtics in white, the Knicks in blue. And we're underway, and we're going to jump it again. The officials working in this game 5. Darryl Garretson, Jake O'Donnell, and Mike Mathis. And it's going to be Celtics ball and a violation by the Knicks. You talk about the officials, and of course every group officiates a different way, but the Celtics have to be banking on the fact that they're going to get some calls.
Well, there was an awful lot of yelling and screaming in games 3 and 4 that the Knicks were manhandling the Celtics underneath in the painted area. Well, each game has its own personality because of the 3 guys who are calling it. So the first 5 to 6 minutes are going to tell a big story here today.
Well, you talked about turnovers, 26 of them in the last game, and Boston does it right off the bat here.
Well, the Knicks have really been given a lot of different looks in games 3 and 4. Baseline picks for Patrick.
Ewing, who scored
you look right there, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk about that. Ewing would post up, but a lot of times his shots were
doubled him late that time.
Well, let's see if they go into their power game.
I'm not saying that as a bad thing.
Bird, and the rebound by Oakley gets hit. And we say that only because it's an indication that the officials may be letting them play. Double on Parrish, leaving Dennis Johnson open. The Celtics will try to find him today.
Well, we all know for years and years and years, everyone says we're going to double off of Dennis Johnson. His guy will be the designated double teamer, which is Mo Cheeks. We're going to see that again today. And then what happens in game 7? Dennis Johnson usually answers the bell.
Every time, almost. Quick double with Lewis helping out on Ewing, and Gerald Wilkins hits the jump shot.
Well, if I'm Stu at the other end with the Knicks, I'm happy because Ewing is attacking. He is not playing passively once he catches the basketball. See, they're trying to get him in deep today. Up here in games 1 and 2, they felt that Patrick was getting the ball too far off the lane.
They post up Dennis Johnson against Mo Cheeks, and Robert Parrish way off the mark. Reggie Lewis crashes the boards for the Celtics. He was a key man late in the regular season when the Knicks played up here, and he could be a key man again.
Well, he's the guy who, without any passes and any set plays, can honestly get you 25 to 30 because of his style of play.
McHale is on Vandeweghe, and Vandeweghe hits. Don't forget Kiki Vandeweghe and Johnny Newman will just about split the time at small forward because of Newman's effectiveness against Boston.
Well, Stu Jackson said that he's waiting for Vandeweghe to have a hot game from the outside.
Parrish. The Knicks won't mind Parrish shooting from there.
No, but you see what I like? I like the strategy of the Celtics. They're going right into Robert Parrish, and they're saying, Chief, you know what? We're going to get you off offensively, and for that, let's see some shot blocking and boards at both ends today.
Charles Oakley from the top of the key hits. And, of course, the other thing is that they want to see if they can get fouls on Oakley and or Ewing early. Wilkins overplaying Lewis.
And Jimmy Rogers wants patience today.
There you saw Cheeks, the designated double teamer, come in. Rebound by Oakley. Knicks want to use their quickness. Oakley throws it away. Tied at 6, 3 minutes gone by. First period. McHale.
You can see the difference in the teams. The Knicks fast break is quickness of foot. The Celtics, they come down, they try to get numbers on you. They're move the basketball.
Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen.
Charles Oakley left open. Ewing
They
with the
didn't shut me
offensive
down.
rebound. And they're going to call the foul, a loose ball foul against Patrick Ewing.
See, that was kind of tough. Parrish did block Patrick out. Patrick was behind him. Now, in a game like this, you want that body contact to be okay today. No cheap fouls.
That was a borderline. Larry Bird doing something he hadn't done in the series, going in for a shot. Crashing the boards. That's something different from Larry Bird.
Well, I like what I'm seeing here today. Bird's taking it all away and then dropping it off within 3 feet of the basket. And also the Celtics are, everyone is crashing the glass.
Vandeweghe loses it. So right now the Celtics are doing it at both ends.
Now keep an eye on this shot to the right of the screen. You're going to see Oakley hit the deck that time. Now he was tangled up with Dennis Johnson. Dennis caught him with a forearm, put him on the floor.
And now the Celtics turn it over.
See, this is an issue that we brought out early in the tape at the top of the show. The long passes and feeding the post people. The Knicks have been able to force turnovers, and we just saw it right there.
Knicks played their most intelligent game of the season in many views. There's Ewing. Looked like he was trying to pass the ball, but the Celtics are stopping the passing lanes. And now Parrish turns it over, and so unusual that we've already had 6 turnovers in this game.
That was an excellent pass, Dick. A beautiful drop-off. Should have been a dunk.
Ewing posting up. Cheeks finds him inside. Double team with the guard Lewis. Vandeweghe. Rebound by Reggie Lewis. So that's how the Celtics are double teaming Ewing at the early start.
Well, they're getting to Patrick quick today.
Good pass from Parrish to Lewis. Rebound by Wilkins. Cheeks is down court.
There's your advantage.
And there's Wilkins, one of the better open court players in this game.
Anytime that the Knicks get a rebound and kick it out, the fast break is there. 3-on-2, 4-on-2.
And the break and the pressure in the backcourt are all meant to wear down the Celtics in the fourth quarter.
Yes.
But Bird is having a field day driving the lane so far.
Well, you know, and it's out of character in this series because he's taking it all the way down.
Wilkins with a jumper, and Gerald Wilkins with 6 points. Celtics by 2, nearly halfway through this opening period. Dick Stockton with Hubie Brown and Tim Brand here at Boston Garden. Another great feed. Dennis Johnson to Larry Bird.
When you play Bird on the baseline, you cannot turn your head and lose sight of the basketball. And that's exactly what happened there.
Ewing calling for the ball at the post. There's Lewis with the double. If you double, the open man has to hit the shot, otherwise you're in trouble. Dennis Johnson drives in, blocked by Ewing. And it's still Boston's ball.
Outstanding effort by Patrick
And we are
Ewing.
going to right there. You know, we're gonna take a break from the game for just a minute. All right, because obviously, you know, with YouTube, you know, we don't want to cause any friction with YouTube, and we're gonna fast forward it just a little bit. At the moment, the Boston Celtics are kind of having their way with the Knicks, and you know, it looks like the Knicks a little, you know, maybe a little bit nervous. You know, about the game. Probably one of the biggest games in Patrick Ewing's young career, right? So it would make sense that he would be nervous. Wayne, what's the first thing that you notice about the difference between that time period of play and today. I know one thing that
First
someone
thing I
has
noticed is there's no 3-point shots. Guys are taking jump shots just inside the 3-point line, which is
not many 3-point shots. As a matter of fact, I was reading something. From just an article about Rick Pitino, right? And it said that the first year that he was the coach, the Knicks, they underachieved a little bit, I guess, right? But they had shot the most threes in the NBA that season.
Yeah,
like
remember
500.
they had the sign with the 3-point shooters on there, Johnny Newman and Mark Jackson and Rod Strickland and Wilkin.
Kiki Vandeweghe, all them guys. But they had shot the most 3-point shots that year at 546.
What they call them, the bomb squad back then?
Right.
I think they called them the bomb squad. Rick Pitino came in and his emphasis was on the 3-point shot.
Right, exactly. But they didn't shoot a high percentage. Right, I think they shot like 31%. That not this year, but this was the season before. They shot like 31%. Right, so there was a little bit of talk like, "Hey, what's going on? Why are these guys shooting so many threes?" In today's NBA, 546 threes in one season. I mean,
they
that's
at the bottom
nothing.
of the league.
That's nothing.
Yeah, they be at the bottom.
Yeah, today guys shoot 5. You got teams like the Rockets; they'll shoot 500 threes in 10 games. I mean, seriously, right? Sometimes they shoot. Okay, let's extend it to 15 games. Sometimes the Rockets shoot 40 to 45 threes a game.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Somebody
James
else
Harden is shooting 15, 20 by itself.
Exactly. Somebody else had put, because I had uploaded this game earlier, just for people can watch. People can watch it in its entirety. And somebody else said, none of the players had tattoos. You didn't see a whole bunch of guys out there with tattoos. So That's definitely a big difference. And that ball went to the post on, at least for the Knicks, on just about every possession. They were looking to get that ball inside first and then get it back out. The game is different now, of course, right? But you noticed that right off the bat.
I noticed that. And you know what I would like to see? I would like to see somebody teach our current center some inside moves.
Mm-hmm.
If people want him to shoot jump shots, I want him to learn how to play down low, be a threat down low.
Yeah, definitely. Be a threat down low. I'm with you on that one.
He can move his game out to 10, 15 feet, but first he needs to learn how to be a threat down low. I remember the first Rockets game we played this year. I was kind of upset that he didn't dominate that game.
Mm-hmm.
You picture Patrick Ewing down there, he'd have a field day on that team.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Tell me about it. And Ewing didn't even come into the NBA.
The second time we played them, we did dominate them on the boards. But the first time, I was really upset. I mean, we didn't dominate these guys. And,
right. And we didn't. Patrick Ewing didn't come into the game with a dominant post game either. Like, it developed. I mean, he had a post game, but it wasn't dominant. Although he was one of the most dominant players in college basketball.
Was known as a defensive force.
Yeah, exactly.
In college, he didn't score a lot in college. He was a defensive force.
Right.
And we envisioned him coming in here being a Bill Russell type player.
Yeah, exactly.
That was the talk.
And I see some guys in the chat that say, post up is the worst playing basketball. Today it might be. Back then, it was. I'm not going to say it's the worst playing basketball, but it does slow down your offense if you're just trying to pound it into the post. But I want you to watch this game. When Ewing gets the ball, he passes it out quick. If it's not there, he sees that double team, the ball is back out, and then the ball is flying around the perimeter.
He sees that double team come in, and he passes it out.
He passes it out quick. And then, or he'll catch the ball and take a quick turnaround jumper. As he got older in his career, it's a little bit more, I'm going to pound it and pound it and pound it. But at this age right here, he was taking quicker shots. You know what I mean? It wasn't pound it and pound it and pound it. It was taking quicker shots. So let's get back. Let's take a look at, we're going to look at the remainder of this first quarter. All right. And we're skipping a little bit. All right. We're skipping ahead just a little bit so that we don't, we
One
can't be
thing
here
when
all
you go
night.
for guys who say that's the worst play in the game, if you got a guy who can work down there, it's not the worst play in the game.
Well, that's the truth.
You know, look at the kid Sabonis.
That's the truth. If you got a guy that can work, it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
It's
you get a guy who can work down there, it's helpful. It's good.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna get back to it. You know, keep some notes about the game, and we'll come back and we'll talk about this and see what's going on, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna finish up the first quarter, and then we'll get back to it. Let's go.
Robert Parrish sits down, and Joe Klein, who, look at that, 13 of 14 field goals this series.
Joe Klein.
That's basically not what they're looking for. They want him to use that big body and muscle inside to give Parrish a rest. Celtics by 7. Cheeks is open. Johnson runs at him, and Mo hits it again, and it's a 5-point game again.
See, Gerald Wilkins told me before the game he feels that he can make something happen if they have nothing. And he has done it twice already. Beat his man off the dribble, kick the ball out the Cheeks.
Line with Walker in, and they'll call the foul on Penny Walker. Knicks have been in the penalty. The Celtics still have one foul to give with 1:22 remaining in the first quarter.
Well, Joe Klein, 7 foot, 270 pounds. Kenny Walker has given up not only the weight factor, but he's giving up size. Joe can muscle you and also hit that turnaround baseline shot on that right box.
People go back to the deal that the Celtics made last year when they traded Danny Ainge and they got Ed Pinckney and Joe Klein. Pinckney was a starter for a good part of the season, at least halfway before McHale came back. But they've gotten great dividends from Klein as a backup center.
Well, where else can you give up a guard and pick up 2 frontline people at 7 foot and 6'10" and young players?
Up to 7 again. Celtics have led all the way in this quarter, and now Larry Bird has committed the foul, and that is the 4th team foul.
You'll see this now. Watch as Walker goes to post up. Bird's playing him on the top side. You see, now the referee on the baseline said that he not only got a piece of the ball, but he got a piece of the arm.
Interesting, they call some fouls, let him go. Others they call really borderline. That's the way it goes. Ewing on the baseline,
got the shot up.
only his 2nd basket.
Caught the ball, spun, let it go, and knocked it down.
Point-wise in the series.
Well, Jimmy Rogers said he's impossible to stop on that side of the floor when he catches and spins to the baseline.
Left-handed layup by Bird in traffic.
And how about the fact that Ewing did not go for the shot block that time?
13 points for Larry Bird in this first quarter. Johnny Newman. Bird the rebound. Celtics looking to match their biggest lead. And there's Joe Klein. Blocked by Ewing. Knicks on a fast break. 3rd block by Patrick. This is a 3-on-2, and Wilkins travels. They had the 3-on-2.
When you get that advantage, you should always get a layup. You do not want a jump shot in a situation. And the second thing that you definitely do not want is a turnover. You want at least an opportunity to score.
John Bagley will give Dennis Johnson a rest. Big hand for Johnson, who goes out with 6 points, to no one's surprise with a good first quarter. Playing for the last shot. With 1.7 seconds to go, a loose ball foul, and it's against Johnny Newman, his 2nd.
Keep an eye on Larry Bird and watch how he splits the double team here. See, that was beautiful.
Beautiful move.
See, that's what I meant.
Bird.
Gerald Wilkins on Larry Bird. He's giving him at least 5 inches, 4 to 5. And that's what you must enjoy about the Boston Celtics offensive presence today. They are seeing all the mismatches, and they're delivering the key pass.
Ed Pinckney, the other man in the trade, along with Klein for Danny Ainge, and Larry Bird gets a hand as he gets a rest here. A good move by Jimmy Rogers, because the Celtics have had their way with the Knicks here in the first quarter. And Bird has had a big one indeed. McHale 13 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, but going to the hoop in a way in which he did not in the 2 games at Madison Square Garden. Kenny Walker. Long pass to Ewing. And it would have counted had it gone, but it doesn't. And that's the end of the first period here at Boston Garden.
Go
Larry
down
Bird
in the first
way,
quarter,
and the
ladies and
Celtics
gentlemen.
lead the Knicks 32-24.
32-24. The Knicks were down, and I didn't let you see the score there, but my bad. You know what I'm saying? The Knicks were down at the end of the first quarter. And, you know, as a young Knicks fan, I'm a little bit nervous. I'm a little bit scared. Like, hey, you know, come on now. I need these guys to get with it. You know what I mean? If we're going to pull this out, we got to get with it now. You know, when you're young, you want everything to happen right now. You know what I'm saying? I was 14 years old watching this game. Nervous as all, as nervous as I could be. You know what I'm saying? As nervous as I could be about this game. You know, but the Knicks, of course, back in these days, the Knicks were the kind of team where you knew that they were going to come back. There was no doubt about it. The Knicks were never out of it because they played good defense. Right? They played tough defense. Even you know, they were a young team, very young team, and their defense wasn't as good as it was going to be later on. All right, so let's get into the second quarter. We'll watch a couple minutes of the second quarter. Then, of course, we'll fast forward on to the second quarter. Wayne Allen, this is actually the season after Rick Pitino. This is the season after Rick Pitino. Stu Jackson was the coach of this team here. All right, so let's go ahead and let's check out into the beginning of this second quarter here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get it.
Johnny Newman, Patrick Ewing, and Kenny Walker. For Boston, it's Bagley and Paxson at guard. Up front, Bird, Parrish, and McHale.
Well, defensively for the Celtics, they've done an excellent job on Ewing. He only has 4 points to date.
And remember, Ewing had been averaging 30-something points coming into this game. Another quick turnaround from Ewing.
The rebound, and it's still Knicks ball, but the Knicks turned it over. So that Boston outscored New York 5-0 as a result of the turnovers. Far cry from Game 4.
See, Ewing is looking for the foul on that spin move. Robert Parrish is bodying up to
Trent
him
Tucker,
and
ladies
then
and gentlemen.
extending his
Good old
arm
Trent Tucker.
and getting a piece of Ewing right around the elbow area. So far, it has not been called.
Wilkins, who scored 6 along with Oakley to lead the Knicks, goes out, and Trent Tucker. Good outside shooter. This will be a 2-point shot, and it's good, but Tucker underway. That's the other guy Stu Jackson wants to see get going, besides Vandeweghe, is Trent Tucker.
Well, Trent's a little cold these days, but he's playing excellent defense and picking the team up.
Newman is guarding Bird. Tough matchup for Johnny. Paxson. He had Ewing in his face. Parrish gets the offensive rebound and counter. And Ewing was down court. The Knicks are simply too small defending there. Cheeks goes in to Ewing with the pass and a foul. And now they call it.
And here we have working in the low post area right now. Now watch Parrish. You see how he went elbow to elbow there, disrupted Ewing's shot. Ewing immediately went right to the referee and said, "I'm getting banged."
3-second violation called against the Knicks.
See, without Charles Oakley in the game, you can see the Knicks are hurting on that defensive glass.
Double on McHale. Parrish comes in and misses inside. The rebound by Ewing. So far, Ewing has scored only 4 points. Walker. Got a loose ball foul called against Trent Tucker of the Knicks. You could hear Trent say, "What?"
Yeah, but
all the way over here.
Trent put his body on Jimmy Paxson, knocked him back 10 feet.
Charles Oakley's going to check back in. The Knicks are going to need his muscle inside. And Kenny Walker goes out.
Now, the reason why Oakley is so big here, because he is on Robert Parrish and has done an excellent job in games 3 and 4, keeping him away from the offensive rebounding.
Also notice the shorts, ladies and gentlemen. The kids are getting back to that, though. Kids are getting back to wearing these stupid short
Traveling
shorts.
call against McHale as the designated double-teamer Cheeks came in to help Patrick Ewing. There's the turnover story. It's even so far. But offensive rebounding in Game 3 and the turnover advantage helped the Knicks in the games in New York. So far, a different story. Tucker. Parrish gets the rebound. He's a different player today. By far.
He's alive today, Dick. Knicks missing an awful lot of open jump shots.
McHale driving in. And, you know, the Celtics have also missed a few layups that could have widened their lead even more than the 8 they have right now. Ewing setting a screen for Tucker.
It's a good two-man set here if Ewing can get in deep.
Ewing feeds Oakley. They doubled him, and Oakley ran around the baseline.
Well, Oakley's man is leaving him and double-teaming Patrick. They're going big man a lot today.
You know, the Celtics' assist total is pretty high, and that's a good sign because it shows the ball movement that Jimmy Rogers is looking for. Parrish puts it in on Paxson's miss, and he's camped in underneath. Knicks push it back. Newman off the glass.
And look, let me say, you know, people can say what they want about the game back these days being slow, right? But these guys move the basketball. You know, they get the ball out and they go. You know what I'm saying? They get the ball out quick. They get up the floor. You know what I'm saying? And the ball swings around that perimeter quick. You know what I mean? You know, the game is played much faster than people give it credit for back in the day.
Tipped away, and it'll be Knicks ball, but the Knicks played that half-court defense as well as they've done in this game.
Doing an excellent job. Keep an eye on Ewing now. Watch him going into the triple team and yet being able to deliver the pass beautifully. Well done.
Well, Larry Bird, who was injured last year, says he's feeling a lot better these days.
I think that I feel better now than I did. I thought I was going to feel. I thought I was going to have a lot more problems this year. So I'm excited about being able to do the things that I did this year, because when I came back from surgery all the way up to training camp, I still had a lot of pain. And once we got started and going 2-a-days, I thought, hey, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it through a season or not. But all of a sudden, they started feeling really good. Earlier in the season, I was trying to get it back too quick. I was forcing some things. But as I settled down, and as I started thinking about it over the All-Star break, I came back and shot the ball better. But I still have trouble making a move and having a lot of confidence in my shot. And the way I play the game is if my shot's going, everything else comes real easy.
Well, he has shot 5 for 8 so far, and there you see the top active playoff scorer, Larry Bird. But yesterday he was nursing a jammed thumb on a shooting hand that was heavily wrapped.
And I'm going to get back
practice.
to the game in just a second, ladies and gentlemen. The one thing I did want to say is, you know, this game was your classic. It was your classic, your old championship level team that was trying to hang on, really trying to hang on to what they had left. You know, I mean, look at the guys on the team: Larry Bird, Robert Parrish. You know, these guys. You know, Kevin McHale. These guys were old, man. These guys were just old. Then the Knicks were a young upstart team. You know, and this right here, this. Well, we'll talk about that a little bit later. But that's what this was. It was your young upstart team battling the old team that's trying to hang on to their youth. You know what I'm saying? Back in those days, I think back in those days, you know, teams and the NBA valued veterans a little bit more than we value it today. Just saying. You know. Just saying. But anyway, let's get to the rest of this second quarter here, ladies.
Celtics trying to untie this game as we wind down to 2 minutes to go in the half.
Celtics have had all kind of fast break opportunities, but they are not delivering 2-on-1 or 3-on-1.
Parrish gets the pass at a good spot and beats the smaller Knicks inside. The Chief has 10 points. Far cry from what has been a disappointing 2 games in New York. McHale on Newman. Oakley. Parrish kind of gave him the shot, and it was deflected.
Excellent anticipation by Parrish.
That's his third block.
Beautiful.
Bird to
Beautiful move.
rolling to the basket as good as he could do.
The greatest passer that I have ever seen in pro basketball at the height of his jump and making it was a guy by the name of Rick Barry. And now Larry Bird is right at that level because you must play them for the score, and then they have the presence of always giving the ball up to a guy for an easier attempt. Look at this pass. What beautiful recognition.
A 20-second timeout called by the Knicks. Everyone freezes and Parrish going to the basket. Bird having a big game in every aspect. Second all-time passing forward, and he had averaged 11 assists in this series until game number 4, when he only had 5.
Well, it's a little unfair for Bird, you know, to be behind John Havlicek because John, at the end of his career, played the second guard position for many, many years.
Bird also had 18 rebounds in game 1, so you can't measure what he does just in the scoring department, although he leads all scorers with 17. Celtics by 4. Wilkins. This from the top. Reggie Lewis pushing it up. Dennis Johnson.
Dennis Johnson.
Now with under a minute.
That was one of the few times today that the Celtics have pushed the ball once they arrived at half court. They've been just happy taking it down slowly.
They've scored 6 in a row, and good defense inside by Parrish and Lewis. But the Celtics, in their effort to get the ball up court quickly, turned it over.
Now Jimmy Rogers really upset over there. He saw that they had an opportunity to go, but you know, you try to tell players, don't leave and get out on the break and lose sight of the basketball, because who are we going to pass the ball to?
Oakley gets hit inside.
Now, let me ask you.
Yeah, the ball moves with speed.
Ewing doesn't have that many points
slow.
today, but he is really finding the free people today. He is making the beautiful pass, and especially to Oakley anytime that he makes a cut.
Well, if you're asking me, I'll agree with you. He is, and that's really been a big part of the Knicks offense today.
And it's nice to see, because it's a young ball club, because it will open up other things for them in the second half.
Well, Oakley hits the free throw. Reggie Lewis is out, and Jim Paxson checks back in for the Celtics.
Jim Paxson.
Oakley with 14 points, and that's because of Patrick Ewing's passing skills in his first
Notice the
half.
logo on the Knicks shorts.
Well, you always tell big people, when the guy leaves you to double team, always go to the front of the rim. If you don't get the pass, at least you'll be there for the offensive rebound. (52-48). Differential on the shot clock of about 13 seconds. Cheeks reaches in, and that's the third foul, so the Knicks and the Celtics each with 4. No more fouls to give. And a 20-second timeout called by the Celtics. Western semifinal underway yesterday. Portland Trailblazers, who are without Kevin Duckworth. Buck Williams returned to action, and against San Antonio, Portland won the game. David Robinson held to only 9 points, but Jerome Kersey had a big game. And another guy who filled in there was Drexler with a high 20s and also 9 rebounds.
Series continues Tuesday in Portland before they shift to San Antonio. Spurs won their division, but the Trailblazers won 59 games, and a lot of people may not realize that's as many as the Detroit Pistons won this year.
You know what was nice also, Dick, was yesterday that Buck Williams played major minutes, even though he had the eye injury, and he still came up with 17 points and 6 boards.
What a difference he's made up there. 15 on the shot clock. McHale. 3-6. Celtics have made their last 5 shots, and now the Knicks trying to get a couple more before this half is over.
5 seconds.
Johnny Newman runs into McHale. Ewing scores with 0.6 of a second to go to cut the lead to 4, and that's the way it'll be. And so Charles Oakley has a big second period with 9 points. That's the end of the first half. With the score, the Celtics 54 and the Knicks 50. Pat O'Brien and Bill Raftery will be along with the Prudential at the half after this message.
And I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, some of the music back then was real corny, but it is what it is. It was way back in the 90s. It was way back in the 90s. Wayne. So the Knicks were down at half, right?
Right.
Just. Did you feel at that point? Did you feel like the Knicks had it, or did you feel like the Celtics had it? How'd you feel at that point? I just know as a kid, I was nervous. The basketball, all the analytics of the game, I didn't really know about.
I never thought we were going to win Game 5, but I was. We were only down 6, and felt good, but I just never felt like we were going to win that game. We never win that game in Boston.
Yeah, that's a tough place, man. Especially for the Knicks. Tough place, especially for the Knicks.
Yeah.
Some of the players that we've seen out there, right? Mo Cheeks, Johnny Newman, Skywalker. How'd you feel about those guys? I mean, you look at, I just seen someone in the chat say even Patrick Ewing played with a bunch of different point guards, which he did. I mean, he played with a bunch of different point guards from Mark Jackson. You see Mo Cheeks out there. Later on in his career, Charlie Ward. You got, there was a bunch of different guys that Patrick Ewing played with.
Yeah. Makes you think about that big mistake. I thought it was a big mistake anyway. Rod Strickland for Mo Cheeks.
Yeah.
We sort of gave up. And that was a trade that we sort of lost 2 point guards behind that trade because we ended up starting Cheeks over Jackson.
Right.
So we had 2 young, promising point guards, and we lost both of them in one trade.
Yeah, we end up moving Doc Rivers. Someone said Doc Rivers, Derek Harper. That's the 2 guys I couldn't pull their names out the hat.
Yeah, remember Doc got hurt, and we had to go get Harper.
Yeah.
Doc got hurt. What did he? A knee injury?
Yeah, man. But this game, and I'm gonna talk about it a little bit later after we finish the game. This game really between these 2 clubs marked. It just marked the 2 clubs really going in 2 different directions. You know what I'm saying? The Celtics were on their way down from winning the championship. The Knicks obviously hadn't won a championship since the 70s, but got Patrick Ewing a few years before this, 4 years before this, and they were on the way up.
This was his 5th year, and he was becoming a dominant player at this point.
Yep, becoming a dominant player for sure. You know what I'm saying? A dominant player. Johnny Newman, where is Johnny Newman? I haven't heard from that guy in a while. Where is he?
I don't know.
He was one of those players that gave me fits. He was like, for me back then, Johnny Newman was like he was like the who do I want to say? He was my J.R. Smith of the team back then.
Yeah, but wasn't that the year 1990? He hit 21 shots in a row.
That might have been. It might have been 1990. He hit like 21 shots in a row.
Over 2 games, he hit 21 shots in a row.
And I remember a few years before this, maybe it was the previous season, the Knicks were playing the Bulls in the playoffs. And I was laying down on my floor watching it. Right? And I don't know, maybe the Knicks were down 2. Right, and it was just a few seconds left in the 4th quarter. The Knicks got on a fast break, and Johnny Newman, he comes down on a fast break, and instead of taking it in for a layup, he pulls up for 3 and he bricks it. And at that point, I knew that the season was over for the Knicks. I started crying. My mother was like, "What are you crying about?" I was like, "Cuz they're eliminated." She's like, "Oh, they're gonna be back. They'll be playing again." And I was like, "You don't get it. They're not playing again until next year." I was hurt. I was really, really hurt. I was really, really hurt. But still, this was the beginning of the Knicks. And I'm waiting for this third quarter to download. I thought I already had it downloaded. It should be downloaded in
This was
just a
the
second.
beginning of this was beginning. The next year was when the X-Men came on board.
Yeah, this was the beginning of the Knicks really. I mean, up until this point, up until this season, the Knicks had already made the playoffs for like 2 or 3 seasons in a row.
Was it that long?
Yeah, I think they had made the playoffs for 2 or 3 seasons in a row. Let me see. This was the
That's 1990.
This was the 89-90 season. Right? This was 89-90. And they had made the playoffs. They made the playoffs in 88, 89. They lost to the Chicago Bulls in the second round. They made the playoffs in 87 and 88, and they lost to the Celtics in the first round.
Okay.
Yep, they had made the playoffs for a couple of seasons.
Patrick's first 3 years were really rough.
Yeah. And he had a few different coaches those 3 years too.
We're back at halftime.
Who's announcing the game, but his
best
first
of
coach?
5. The winner will.
Huh?
So who's announcing the game? His first coach.
Yeah, Hubie Brown was his first coach. Exactly. He went from Hubie Brown to Rick Pitino, Stu Jackson. Yeah. Well, let's get back to the third quarter. All right. We're going to go ahead and start up this third quarter, ladies and gentlemen, and enjoy the game.
We're back at halftime in the deciding game of the best of 5. The winner will move on against Detroit. The loser's season is over, and the Boston Celtics lead it by 54-50. Their offensive rebounding paid off in the first quarter, but the Knicks came back because of good shooting, particularly from Trent Tucker, who scored 7 points coming off the bench. And a few moments ago, Hubie Brown talked with Stu Jackson of the New York Knicks and asked him his reaction after the first half of play.
The main thing is we didn't think we necessarily played our best half of basketball, Hubie, and we're still in the ball game. The way that we're going to be successful against the Celtics, especially offensive, we have got to stay on the move against a team that today has decided to pressure us more than they have in the past.
Well, best of luck, sir.
Thank you very much.
All right, now on the other side of that, I just walked in the locker room with Jimmy Rogers and the Celtics, and their main concern and the obvious factor that they're going to look for here early is Oakley. They have not given him the attention that they want. They want to get on him more. They're going to pressure for him. They're going to look for him everywhere he goes. That's been their main concern. He says that's what they've got to stop, obviously. Back to you guys.
All right, Tim, the shooting, Boston had the edge, and the front line, McHale, Bird, and Parrish shot 57% in the first half. They're doing their job. Robert Parrish coming alive. Offensive rebounding, a big plus for Boston in the first quarter in particular. Comparing the two centers. Now, Ewing, maybe not that impressive as far as his shooting and rebounding, but he has passed, and we've talked about that, and that really has brightened up the New York offense as you look at the leading scorers, Hubie.
Well, it's definitely helped Charles Oakley, mainly because Oakley has at least 5 layup attempts. The thing that I find interesting in the first half, the referees have decided to allow these two centers, Parrish and Ewing, to play. Now, why do I say that? Ewing had 14 shot attempts, Parrish 9. Neither center has taken a foul shot. That is a big statement.
Boy, that really is. Foul trouble. Nobody in the game has 3. Larry Bird with 17 points. Kiki Vandeweghe, who only played 6 minutes because it's Johnny Newman's court, really, when these two teams match up. But Kiki Vandeweghe will start the second half, along with Oakley and Ewing. And in the backcourt, it's Wilkins and Maurice Cheeks. Knicks were down by 8 after the first quarter, cut the margin in half. See if Ewing gets more in the offense here in the second. Quick double team, tough pass inside. 6 on the shot clock. Vandeweghe, and Bird runs into him.
Nice ball movement by the Knicks. What you do not want to do when the pass comes out of the double team is to put the ball on the floor unless you're going to the basket. Otherwise, catch it and keep moving it.
Double team, Gerald Wilkins Smartly puts up the jumper. He saw Bird in front of him.
Yes, and also he's struggling with the long jumper today. That time when the ball came to him, he saw an opening and he attacked to the basket.
Celtics, of course, in their tradition, and it's a tremendous legacy in the league, have always come out strong in the early moments of the third quarter. Blocked off. Parrish with a good spin move.
Robert Oakley is taught to take away the Chiefs' right hand, and he did that time.
Ewing with a jumper.
See, what I like if I'm Stu Jackson, you're in this game and Ewing was 5 for 14 before he just hit that shot. You got to feel that the horse is going to get hot in the second half.
You're Stu Jackson. You like being in this fifth game after last week.
Absolutely.
Parrish double team with Ewing and Oakley. Tipped away and a good play by Wilkins. His quickness. Now here come the Knicks. Getting back is Lewis. Great pass inside to Kiki Vandeweghe and Gerald Wilkins at both ends.
Well, Gerald feels, he told me that he can put it down, and he honestly feels that, especially in the open floor, that he can create and get the shot or make the pass.
Should come to every game at 6 in the morning.
Yes.
Huh? Larry Bird misses his first shot of the second half, and there's Wilkins again. Knicks trying to make the older Celtics run up court defensively. And a pushing foul from behind. If it's on Parrish, it'll be his third. And it is.
Now watch Gerald make this move, and then he spots Vandeweghe. Nice look, nice catch, and then presence of mind to switch sides of the floor to lay it up.
3 fouls now on Robert Parrish, the first player to pick up 3. Ewing has it slapped away by Dennis Johnson.
Plenty of time.
Gerald Wilkins with a jumper. Boy, he's come out strong here. He has 10 points, but doing it defensively as well.
Well, think about it. Tucker and Gerald Wilkins at that 2-guard spot. Major production today.
Parrish pushed from behind, and he'll shoot 2.
See, bad foul by Oakley, because he had both hands in his lower back and just pushed them off. Well, the referees are going to see that. We all know that if you put the forearm in the back, you get the same result, and very seldom is it called a foul.
Well, he didn't get called for that one. Ewing did.
Oh!
So we'll just erase that on the tape. You'll be in make-believe you never said it. But Ewing picks up his second.
That's an oops. Foul. That's an oops. I tell you, that was such an obvious. It was like a flagrant push by Oakley.
Well, you saw that the officials didn't. 2 free throws by Parrish. The Knicks have not missed yet here in the third quarter. They're perfect 4 for 4 from the field. Vandeweghe with a good screen from Ewing. Now Boston. High score at 58, so that 4-point lead evaporated in a hurry.
Hey, Patrick Ewing just fanned out and picked up Larry Bird.
McHale over Vandeweghe. Vandeweghe has a tough assignment of either guarding a Bird or a McHale and struggling with both men. Parrish with 3 fouls. Ewing. Great play by Ewing. Going the opposite way.
See, he's very active this half, Dick. He's taking it on either side of the lane, and they're looking for him not only out of the set offense, but in the transition game.
Remember, the Celtics have beaten the Knicks 26 straight times here at the Boston Garden. Knicks coming back from a 2-0 deficit in the series as Vandeweghe commits his first personal foul. Larry Bird yet to score here in the third quarter. More than 3 minutes gone by. Great pass behind his shoulders. Parrish. There's that offensive rebounding that really gave Boston the big boost in the first quarter.
Well, Newman is playing Larry on that little pick move, that curl. He's playing behind him. Larry knows that anytime he catches, he can get inside the Knick defense.
They're isolating Gerald Wilkins for the moment. Ewing, top of the key. He knows the rims here. Well, he went to high school here, didn't he?
Oh, well, sure. It came with the air that he breathed. Is that what you're telling me? No, the main thing is that he's playing big this quarter. He's coming out shooting and knocking him down.
6 points already for Patrick. He's inside. McHale gets the basket and a foul and elbows Oakley after the shot.
Game is heating up, ladies and gentlemen.
There's a technical foul, I believe.
Let's keep an eye on this now.
On
Here's
McHale,
Reggie.
I think.
Now there's your nice move. There it is, hard foul, and then naturally the bump off. Yeah, he's just sending Oakley a message. He's going to tell him, look, hard foul. I'm gonna give you a little bump in return. But the referee interpreted that as a swinging elbow.
The foul is on Oakley in any event. That's his third. So Oakley and Parrish each with 3 fouls. But McHale is on the line, so technical foul is called against McHale for the elbow. He makes the free throw for the 3-point play to give Boston the 3-point lead, and now the Knicks will shoot.
Well, naturally the referees do not want to allow this game to get away from them. And that was the first time that we've seen a flagrant elbow go out and make contact today. And they were right on top of it. Excellent call.
Cheeks getting the explanation from Mike Mathis. That's the most I've ever seen Maurice Cheeks talk at one time. 2 shots for Oakley.
He's definitely a quiet dude.
Because of the elbow, it's 2-shot. Technical. Having a terrific game here, and ever since he moved into the starting lineup, has made a big difference.
See, if you hit anyone with a flagrant elbow above the shoulders, what's going to happen to you is you're out of the game. But if you have the contact below, they'll call the foul.
McHale with a 3-point basket. He kind of got to like that this year, didn't he?
Yes, and also I think he's saying, you know what? Maybe the little play before had something to do with him taking a 3.
Hale scored 9 points in the first half, already has 8 here in the third quarter. Ewing comes back with a jumper, and he remains active, and it's 68-66 Boston.
Well, what we're seeing in the third quarter are that the Celtics cannot get to him for the successful double team.
He's hit all 4 of his shots here in the third. Bird cutting across the lane. Everything he could do there.
Well, see, anytime that Larry comes off that curl, Vandeweghe and Newman continue to follow him. Once he makes his catch, you're at his mercy.
Knicks, meanwhile, have missed only 1 shot here in the third quarter, and we have just under 7 minutes to go. Bird causes a turnover. Dennis Johnson. Reggie Lewis with the quickness. Basket good. And a foul.
This is Reggie Lewis at his best. You must come out on him. Now watch how he scoops the shot. See, he's excellent with the English off of the glass.
Foul is on Gerald Wilkins. Timeout.
Now watch Larry Bird read this pick. As Bird comes off, he comes shoulder to shoulder with the pick man. Now right there, you'll see that Vandeweghe is picked. Now once he makes the catch, he looks, he could go down the lane, but look what we have here. We have 3 Knicks. So he says, little ball fake. Now I come back and I make my move. Naturally, everyone can make this shot, all right, off the glass. Now, at the other end, watch a player coming off a pick incorrectly. Now, as Vandeweghe comes off of this, you see right there, he allowed the defensive man to come in between the pick and cause a turnover.
Larry Bird, 19.6 rebounds and 4 assists. Larry Bird was old at this point, too, ladies and gentlemen. He can still cook, though. 72-66.
Right, Tim Brandt. Tim.
All right, Dick, in that last huddle, Stu Jackson was telling his team that they've responded to every little break. Every time they've fallen behind, they've come back. What he wants them to do here is they want to flash Patrick outside and bring him back down inside. Defensively, be more aggressive, pack it inside. But most of all, he continues to reiterate to maintain their poise and play aggressively.
Not a bad
and
thing.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Reggie Lewis with the 3-point
at
play.
this point, the Knicks are down by 7 to the Boston Celtics. Down by 7 to the Boston Celtics. The Knicks are fighting and battling. And, you know, when you're a Knicks fan or you're a fan of a team, you start to feel like, man, this thing is getting close. We need to hurry up and do this here. You know what I'm saying? But the Knicks aren't going to stop. They're going to keep going. They're going to keep fighting. Right? They're going to keep fighting. They're going to fight back. They're going to fight back. So here we go. We can fast forward it to a little bit later on in the third quarter. Patrick Ewing finally got hot in that third quarter. He only had 10 points at the half. Remember, he had been dropping 30 points a game. I mean, I think he had 36 points in game 2, 44 points in game, 36 points or something like that in game 3, 44 points in game 4. He had 10 points because they were double teaming him. But see, they were getting the ball to him quicker in the third quarter and in spots where he could score the basketball. Let's finish this up, ladies and gentlemen. It's now 77-66. Boston. You know, it's an old video, so it's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. My bad. I thought you had some sound up there.
We were 9-9 with
That's
them,
my
beat
fault.
them here
My
twice.
bad. I got you
but
now.
Yet we could
there
not
you go.
get a win at home. I mean, on this
got you
floor,
back on.
they beat us all 4 games by 10 or more points.
My bad, folks.
Larry Bird elevated his game that day and could be one of the greatest games he's ever played. He had 39 points, 12 rebounds, 10 assists, did everything. Really rose to the occasion.
How many guys have... How many guys have gone to the 7th game? With the Boston Celtics, whether it's home or away. Bird having a big game, 23 points now.
Well, you know, that's why he's just at that other level, because he relishes the pressure.
Gerald Wilkins.
Oh, boy.
You know, this is a game in which Boston had a 9-point lead. Knicks came back to lead by 3.
Then it was Boston by 7.
Knicks came back again as they have right now. They have answered every Celtic surge today.
Well, I think that Patrick coming to the front in the third quarter, really playing great basketball, has given the rest of the guys confidence.
Pass overthrown. McHale claims he was held on the play.
Yeah, but you see, in today's game, you're not going to get any of that. You're not going to get those little bumping fouls and grabbing, because if we did, you know, what we were doing is shooting foul shots today, going from end to end.
Each team has turned it over 10 times in this one as we get close to 2 minutes to go in the third. Klein picking up Wilkins on a switch. Ewing matched up against Lewis. And there's the offensive rebound, and Oakley draws the foul inside. And now the Celtics have to be upset with themselves in allowing New York to get the second shot.
Well, they played really good defense this time, and you know, he knew that he couldn't penetrate, so they passed back to Ewing. Now watch Oakley here. See, this is 2 guys working. That's how Oakley gets paid. He gets paid to put his body into the chest of your big man. And and at the end of the day, he's not counting how many times you hit him in the head.
John Bagley commits his first foul. Oakley has 18 points along with 12 boards, and Robert Parrish, who has responded in this game, gives Joe Klein a breather, and Klein has played well in reserve.
He's done an excellent job moving Patrick around. But you know, the Oakman right here, he's the guy that gives everyone the quiet confidence and also allows Ewing to upgrade because Patrick knows that he can count on Oakley getting key rebounds.
That matches the biggest lead the Knicks have enjoyed. It was earlier in the game at 39-36. Under 2 minutes to go here in the third quarter.
The Celtics must close down the passing lanes and get the good angles to feed their post people.
Bird looking inside. Parrish kept out well by Ewing. Long shot by Parrish. Cheeks winds up with it now. Knicks looking for their biggest lead of the game. Johnny Newman splits the middle to Patrick Ewing, and it's a 5-point lead.
See what you like if you're Stu Jackson. Not only are we penetrating and doing a good job, Dick, but we're making the unselfish pass to the guy who has a better shot. Now watch Parrish react. Look at that triple team presence to drop off the pass.
Johnny Newman picks up his 4th personal foul, and John Bagley on the line. There's a rare smile between two combatants there. Whoever expected to see this?
Yeah, but guys like that, they appreciate the work ethic of the other person. You know, we see some guys throwing some trash here, but we really know they're really not trash.
Not in the least bit.
No.
Never thought they would.
No.
Lead is 3. Bagley trying to fight through Ewing's screen right now. Cheeks finds an opening, and Maurice Cheeks again now. Cheeks with 14 points.
Mo did that. That was like a surgeon operating. He created it. He staggered his dribble and then took advantage.
Larry Bird comes back. 25 for Larry Bird.
The Celtics, if they're going to get it done, they've got to play better defense off the dribble in this half-court attack by the Knicks.
They're going to call Bagley for the push, and Cheeks will shoot 2.
Watch Cheeks survey here. See, he gets bumped, see, but he takes a look. Then he steps through. But how about that? You split Bird at 6'9" and McHale at 6'11".
Maurice Cheeks has scored 10 points here in the third quarter. Patrick Ewing 14. They have been the big people offensively for New York. Trent Tucker is in the game, and Johnny Newman goes out. Newman has scored 6 points and goes out with 4 fouls.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, and there goes the third quarter. And we're gonna get back. We're gonna jump into this fourth quarter. All right, the Knicks end the third quarter with the lead. And I do want to let you know that after this game at 10 o'clock, we'll be doing a live call-in show. All right, live call-in show. I'm putting the link in the chat, so make sure you join me at 10 o'clock. We'll be doing a live call-in show. Just whatever you want to call in and talk about, that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to call in. That's what we're going to discuss, all right? Live call-in show at 10 o'clock, right after we finish the Knicks and the Boston. The Knicks and the Celtics. We're heading into the fourth quarter. All right, as you can hear it behind me, we're headed on into the fourth quarter, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so
the Knicks
let's get this thing started. Let's go. Fourth quarter, Knicks Celtics. Let's go.
78% and scored 37 points to take the 4-point lead.
Now the Celtics, this is on their mind now. They have to go against the trap, but they ended that third quarter missing 9 of their last 11 shots.
Dennis Johnson Lewis, McHale, Parrish, and Bird. Lewis misses the rebound to Lewis. It'll count.
Now just watch as this rebound comes off, how Reggie is behind the backboard. Look at this. He not only had to get around Ewing, but come out from underneath.
He misses the free throw. The foul was on Charles Oakley. So Oakley now has 4 personal fouls. 87-85. Newman driving against McHale. And he'll jump it. And he'll be on the short end of that jump for sure.
When you coach a young ball club or a team like this on the road, what you try to tell them is that we are not going to be getting any major calls here down the road. You must play big, and you cannot complain if you get bumped on drives to the basket.
Lou Jackson told his team, we know the Celtics will have at least 3 big runs. How we handle those runs will determine how we come out. The moment of truth. And maybe in the midst of one now.
See, I don't know why they went away from that in the third quarter. For some reason, they didn't go to that. Larry can get a shot every single time off of that play.
27 for Bird. Tie score. Tucker for 3. And he nails it. Big one for Trent Tucker, his second of the game.
Trent is having an outstanding game tonight.
Defensively as well.
Yes, by hitting a long jumper, he's keeping the honest in the low post area as well.
Bird posting up against Newman. Ewing blocks it. McHale misses the jumper. And now the Knicks pushing it up now. Leading by 3.
Oakley laboring, coming across half court now.
Ewing. And it drops. Patrick Ewing now has 26 points.
Pat Ewing,
he only had 4 after the first quarter. He has been a big factor here since then.
Well, you know, it's interesting, Dick. No 2 shots have been the same for Ewing in the second half.
In the post, McHale to Dennis Johnson. Great feed, and it started with Bird.
You know, we've seen very little of that today. A Boston pass into the post, and then a return pass to a cutter.
Final quarter of the deciding game. Ewing with a turnaround misses. McHale, 3-point lead for the Knicks. This is game 5. Winner plays Detroit. Double team with Cheeks. Dennis Johnson, open.
What do they say? He has the nerves of the burglar. 4 for 11 at the end of the first half. All open shots. It didn't discourage him a bit.
In the Boston Celtics, ladies and gentlemen, at this point, the Celtics
Now watch the cutter
were
now.
scared.
Beautiful pass by McHale.
They were feeling scared. It's a nice pass by McHale, but they were feeling scared, ladies and gentlemen, because the Knicks playing ball. You look at the game summary right here, and I'm going to pause this for a second. You see the game summary. Ewing finally got hot. He had 26 points and 7 rebounds at this point in the game because he finally got hot. Remember, he had 10 points in the first quarter. In the first half. Scored 14 in the third quarter. The Knicks only missed 4 shots in the third quarter. 4 shots. I don't know who missed them, but they missed 4 shots. See, the Knicks scored 73 points shooting 73% in the second half. See, Larry Bird had 27 points, 7 rebounds. Ewing, 26 points, 7 rebounds. It's the game, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna fast forward it just a little bit. All right, we're gonna fast forward it a little bit. All right, and we're gonna bring it down to about 3 minutes left in the game. And we're gonna get this thing going. Let's get it going. 3 minutes left in the game, ladies and gentlemen.
Misses the dunk.
The Knicks.
Now, we know that that's a part of what's going on, but their transition defense in the last 3 minutes is really killing them. The Knicks are getting the odd number.
Right now, Tim Brandt. Timmy?
Dick, one of the big concerns in the New York huddle that time was Patrick Ewing. He sat in this chair, and as he sat down, it just gave way. He fell and almost got hurt. He banged his head on the floor, but he's back up and everything's all right. Now Stu Jackson's just giving his team a lot of reminders. Remind them to run to the ball, hold it, and get it back. Right now to you, Dick.
There's the timeout story. Boston with 2. The Knicks have 2 plus a 20. The lead is 9 with 2:51 to play. Biggest lead of the game, matches the Celtic first quarter lead. Look at Maurice Cheeks, 6 for 6 as the Knicks have shot 72% in the second half.
Boston must get down inside, run their power, because on every foul from now on, they're in the penalty. They're shooting the penalty.
11-4 run right now by New York. 10 on the shot clock. Knicks have really clamped down defensively outside.
They've done an excellent job in pushing them off the block.
Dennis Johnson. Rebound by Charles Oakley. That's 15 for Oakley. Now the Knicks are in no hurry.
Now, see, when the Celtics shoot and miss, it's just amazing. It's jumping out at you. No second shot opportunities.
26 straight victories for the Celtics against the Knicks at Boston Garden. 2 minutes plus away from being a raced final. Here's Oakley. Nearly threw it away. 1 second. Ewing. You got to know something when that happens. That's an omen.
Well, we knew that Oakley knew that as he threw the ball into the corner, right?
A 14-4 run by the New York Knicks, and some of the fans are starting to make their way to the exits.
Watch how he picks this up. The bench is yelling at him.
Epic.
Shoot it, shoot it.
That's just epic right there, ladies and gentlemen. That's epic.
Look at Stu. Come on, Stu. Will it in.
First-year head coach Stu Jackson. An illegal defense called against Knicks. That's the first. 31 points for Patrick Ewing. Only the Fort Wayne Pistons back in 1956 and recent vintage, the Golden State Warriors in '87, have come back from 2-0 deficits to win a best-of-5, and even Red Auerbach masks what's going on. Lead is 12 for the Knicks with 1:45 remaining in the fourth period. Coming up next, the Suns and the Jazz for their Game 5 in the West. And a lot of the fans are making their way to the exits as the Knicks, who are a minute and 45 away from a tremendous triumph in a series, coming from behind against the Celtics. And you know, Hubie, when the Knicks didn't get down after that 9-point deficit in the first quarter and came back, I think they grew up in a lot of ways in that sense.
Well, I think the key was how strong Patrick Ewing came out in the third quarter, and then how it was picked up in the latter part of the third quarter by Mo Cheeks.
That's why they got him. Lewis. Robert Parrish. 22 points for Robert Parrish. The lead is 10. Just about a minute and a half to go. And the foul, Johnny Newman will go to the line.
See, if you're the Knicks right now and the Celtics extend the pressure, everything is in your favor because you're quicker at almost every position other than maybe Reggie Lewis. So what you do is you get it in and you just don't sit on the basketball. You keep forcing the tempo because that's what's taken you here to this lead.
Newman hits the free throw. In the regular season, the New York Knicks lost all 4 games to the Detroit Pistons after last year playing very well against Detroit. And that's going to be their next opponent if New York maintains the lead here with 1:29 to go. It's an 11-point lead. And the Boston Celtics have used their last timeout. Here's the Knick huddle moments ago. Stu Jackson.
Down here, okay? Stay in 51. Straight 51, all right? Make the extra pass. Now, the only way we can lose the game is if we give up threes. What's wrong? The other way we can lose it if we don't come up with the defensive rebound. Don't think about going out on the break, Johnny. We don't need a fast break. I need you in there to blast. We're going to get a half ball. Let's take it out.
Red Auerbach.
Well, Red Auerbach made a great statement yesterday. He said any kind of a coach, if you're any kind of coach, you get your team to think about today. Streaks and things like that mean absolutely nothing. He says you must be worried about the Knicks after what we saw Friday night. Pretty good statement.
27 points. And decisive. Dennis Johnson with the layup. So you heard Stu Jackson. They don't need the break. They'll use the clock.
What he means by that is no one releasing and letting them get a second shot. Once we get the ball, then we'll go.
Cheeks will go to the line.
You can see how they push the ball up the floor still.
Cheeks will shoot too. Cheeks, of course, as you
see
mentioned,
Jeff
one of the
Van
big
Gundy
heroes
right
for the
there,
Knicks.
ladies and gentlemen,
His
who will be a
tremendous
future
effort.
coach of the New York Knicks.
19 points.
And we'll look at one of those Jeff Van Gundy
Ewing
games.
has been the most obvious
that.
one for sure, but Trent Tucker and Johnny Newman have combined for 23 off the bench today for New York.
It's been a very difficult week for the New York coaching staff. You know, Stu said, hey, we got blown out here last Sunday. What happens? Nobody wanted to practice on Monday. We all came. It was like a morgue. We had to pump everyone up because we were all being traded. We were all being sold down the street. And then he said, finally, we worked out. Nothing happened. But then when we came in on Tuesday, the intensity level rose, and you could just sense it. We worked so hard for 45 minutes, and all we were trying to do.
The air is deflated out of the Boston Garden because the Knicks, you know, they already know the fate of the team. You see Ed Pinkney coming in the game.
I think a big factor in the series as well was the fact that Game 3 wasn't played until Wednesday because the Celtics were on such a big roll following the 29-point victory. The Knicks could really gather themselves.
Yeah, I agree with that.
3-point shot missed. And a loose ball foul. It'll be against Charles Oakley. It'll be his 5th. And, you know, we mentioned heroes. What about Oakley? 25 points and 17 boards. Big ones, particularly in the first half.
Well, when they played here in games 1 and 2, who was the guy who spoke out about the intensity of the ball club and what he thought? Right here, this guy right here in the middle of our picture. He banged his wrist that time in the collision with Bird. But he was so outspoken and challenged the rest of the basketball team. Look, we have got to be physical in our building, but most of all, we've got to play defense and hold them to one shot.
Robert Parrish leads the game and gets a hand. So the Boston Celtics, who wound up winning the Atlantic Division by 7 games, or check that, losing to Philly, but 7 games ahead of the New York Knicks, and had home court advantage here.
You see, ladies and gentlemen,
sees it evaporate in game number 5.
See the Celtics trying to put on a little bit of a full court press, but they know it's over. They know it's done. And I'm gonna tell you, the feeling that I had after the Knicks won this game was, it was beautiful.
Their last playoff win was 10 years earlier than that.
The Knicks hadn't won in Boston in 26 games.
You love the fact that your 3 key guys played big. Patrick Ewing, Oakley, and Mo Cheeks. And then your second guard position, which has been up and down all year, comes in major with a big point day for you. And then Newman running around doing his usual. These 2 positions are getting points for you without any plays being run.
Reggie Lewis driving in for the hoop. You'll see that Phoenix-Utah game 5 in its entirety. Johnson fouls Tucker and he goes to the line. So Boston Celtics season will end and the Knicks go on to play the Detroit Pistons in the series that'll start Tuesday night at the Palace. You'll be, as we had mentioned earlier, the Knicks lost all 4 games against Detroit this year. See any change in the playoff?
That doesn't mean a thing.
Bro, Ishmael, I think you're right. Charles Oakley would be a center in today's game. I think you're exactly right. He would be a center in today's game.
With the Knicks. So you just don't know. I think it'll be up in the air. The main thing will be
and I'm gonna let this play. I'm gonna let this play while I'm talking a little bit. All right. I do want to remind you guys that at 10 o'clock I'll be doing a live call-in show. It's not going to be at the same time as this, so I'm going to cut this off and then I'm going to go do the live call-in show. All right, so I'm putting the link in the chat right now, so make sure that you go right over there as soon as we leave here. All right, because I'll be on doing it there. I need your feedback. What can make this show a little bit better? You let me know what makes this show better. You can put it in the description. You can put it here in the chat. What makes this show a little bit better? Right, because I plan on doing this once a week. We're going to look at a historic game. It's called Knicks Classics. Now we're going to look at a historic game and talk about it. All right. So, this was kind of the first one, a little bit of practice for me. And then we're going to make it better and better and better and better. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate you guys being here with me for it. You know what I mean? But I'm going to continue to make it better. So I need your feedback on how I can make it better.
Main thing you tell your team is don't stop the clock.
Joe Klein. Bird inside, still fighting, draws the foul. Bird now looking for his 30th point. Ewing committing the foul. Sometimes you just can't worry about things when the instincts tell you to go after it.
Well, Patrick all day has been chasing every shot, trying to get a hold of it.
Gerald Wilkins, the new father. Dennis Johnson goes out of the game, but Gerald Wilkins, the new dad, plays a big role, and the crowd gives the Celtics an ovation. They have been terrific fans here over the years, and they are really vehemently in favor of Boston, but they've always had that feeling for teams that have won, like the Lakers, and in this case, the Knicks, and Philadelphia earlier. Double dribble, turns it over.
My man Johnny Newman missed. He had the exclamation point dunk in his hands. Look at Eddie Lee Wilkins. Remember that guy? Eddie Lee Wilkins. Eddie Lee Wilkins. I forgot all about Eddie Lee Wilkins, but Eddie Lee Wilkins, man. Eddie Lee Wilkins.
You'll feel even better next season. Patrick Ewing goes out for the New York Knicks with 31 points, 8 rebounds, 10 assists, and 4 block shots. Well, they finally did it. The jinx is over. 26 straight victories by the Boston Celtics comes to an end, and the New York Knickerbockers become only the 3rd team in history to overcome a 2-0 deficit and win a best-of-5 series, stunning the Boston Celtics 121 to 114. Tim Brand.
Patrick, can you put it into words, ending the streak, winning Game 5 right here in your hometown?
It's destiny. It's destiny. It feels so good. Everybody has counted us out. We just came together. I think that all the controversy and everything that our media have been saying about us just light a fire underneath our butts, and we just rose to the occasion.
You had 4 after 1. You ended up with a big game. What was it that got you off track?
Well, I'm not ready to go home. That was it.
All right, Patrick. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you very much.
All right, Dick, back to you.
71 points in the second half.
31 points, 8 assists, 10 rebounds. And, of course, Patrick Ewing was the player of the game. You know what I'm saying? He had to be the player of the game. Big game for Patrick Ewing. That's one of those early games in his career that really said, yeah, this guy got it. This guy is serious. You know what I'm saying? One of the, early games in his career. And hopefully we're going to get that from R.J. Barrett. You know what I'm saying? We'll get one of those early games from R.J. Barrett in the playoffs sometime, somewhere, some way. Hopefully. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully. We'll see. We'll see how that is. You know what I mean? Wayne?
Yes, sir.
So there it is, man. The Knicks won. They pulled that one out. Shocked everybody, shocked the world. They came back from down 2-0, and came back and pulled it out. How'd you feel, man?
I remember I felt great after that series, but now that I look at the game again, I didn't feel like we were going to win till Patrick threw up that prayer.
yeah, man.
When he hit that prayer, I know we were going to win. I probably...
Was that the first 3 of the season for him?
I don't remember.
I think it was something like that.
But I think he hit a couple before that.
Maybe he did.
Yeah. But that one was I guess he didn't have to think, huh? Just catch it and shoot.
Just catching and shoot. He had to think about it. You know what I mean? He didn't have time to think about it. He had time to think about it.
I was at the Trent Tucker game. That was another one. 0.1 second.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Remember that? Yeah. 0.1
I
seconds.
remember that.
Yeah.
I was sitting on that side of the court.
Man, oh, you were sitting on that side. Wow.
Yeah. So
yeah, that's what's up.
I remember that shot.
Yeah. But this game right here really kind of marked the two teams going in opposite directions, man. You know, after this series here, the Celtics, they lost the next year in 91. They lost to the Pistons in the second round. And then in 92, they lost to the Cavs in the second round. In 93, they lost to the Hornets in the first round. Then they missed the playoffs in 94. For the Knicks, it started going opposite. It went in the opposite direction for the Knicks, but they ran into the Chicago Bulls. That was the issue for the Knicks. Because the next year, 91, they lost in the first round to the Bulls. In 92, they lost in the second round to the Bulls. In 93, they lost in the Eastern Conference Finals to the Bulls. And then finally in 94, after Jordan retired, they went to the NBA Finals and they lost to the Houston Rockets. You know, and then, you know, after 94, the Celtics, they missed the playoffs for 5 of the next seasons before they returned to the Eastern Conference Finals in 01-02. And then the Knicks, they made the playoffs after 94. They made the playoffs for 7 more straight seasons for a total of 14 straight playoff appearances from 1987 to 2001. You know what I mean? So, you know, the two teams, this right here, for me at least, kind of marked, you know, the trajectory of the two teams. The Knicks going up and finding, you know, on their path to the NBA Finals, which they did twice in the 90s. And then the Celtics on their way down. You know?
Yep. You ever talk to Bernard King?
What is that?
Ever had a chance to talk to Bernard?
No, I haven't. You?
Yeah, I have. I actually played with his older brother.
Oh, okay.
Bernard will always tell you, if I stayed with the Knicks, we would have won the championship.
Yeah. Man.
He said, if I played with Patrick, we would have won a championship.
Yeah. Yeah, Patrick he always needed that one guy. Never had it. Never had that one guy that could do it with him, man. Never had that one guy, but.
And I always think about how Patrick's game would have been different if he played with a scorer like Bernard.
Right. Right.
And a low post scorer like Bernard.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll never know now, man. We'll never know now.
We'll never know.
Yeah.
But ask Bernard if you ever meet him. He's sure about it. He said we would have won.
I'll definitely ask him. Well, hey,
he
Wayne,
will tell you we would have won if I played with Patrick.
Yeah, Wayne, I appreciate you, man. You can stay in the chat because as soon as I'm done here, I'm going to do a live call-in show. So as soon as I'm done here, I'm going over to do the live call-in. I don't want to do it on here, you know, so it can be 2 separate videos. You know what I'm saying? I want it to be 2 separate videos. So I'm going to do a live call-in show right after this. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm heading off here. But like I said, in the YouTube chat, I'm putting in a link so you can join me over there right now. All right, so you can go over there, get in that chat right now, and I'm going to be setting it up. And at 10 o'clock, I'll be live again doing a live call-in, and I'm just taking all calls this game. This stream, all calls. You know, I'm just taking all calls, and whatever you want to talk about, we're going to talk about it. I'll be on for about 30, 35 minutes, 40, 45 minutes, somewhere around there. All right.
Again?
Say that again, Wayne?
Are you going to do this again, like show a game from the past?
I am. I plan on doing this once a week. You know, for the time that we don't have Knicks playing. So I'll be choosing games and stuff like that. So I'm just looking for everyone to give me just a little bit of feedback, how we can make the show a little bit tighter, a little bit better, a little bit tighter, you know, and also you can give me some, you know, some games that you want to see. I seen Big Freezy said to do game 6 of the 1994 NBA Finals. You know, so there's a lot of games that we can choose from, you know, so I'll be, you know, going back and grabbing some of those games and doing some of those games. You know, anything that's recent, you know, in the 90s, we should be good. If it's something that's a little bit more recent, it'll be chopped up in bigger chunks, because, the way the NBA, the way the rules are and stuff like that. But anyway, I'm about to get up out of here, Wayne. I appreciate you, man, and I'm going to do this live calling show. So, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you go over there right now and get in the chat, start talking, because I'm on my way. I appreciate you guys for joining me. And make sure that you leave some information in the description. Make sure you smash that like button. Share it out so we can get a bigger chat next time and talk about stuff that's going on with the game and all that kind of stuff. And I will catch you in about 7-8 minutes. All right? I'm out of here. Peace.